DeleteLawZ crowdsources after Chille's Angels arrest. Jose Chille de Castro held what he claimed was an emergency live stream Wednesday night which took in over $1,000 in donations to go towards the bond of de Castro associates Brick Jonesy and Letzo TVO, despite numerous sources telling de Castro that the men do not need bail money. Thomas Letzo TVO Prowatsky and Matthew Brick Jonesy Jones were apprehended at the Roundhouse, Mexico's state capitol building yesterday on charges of disorderly conduct and trespassing. The men were apparently sent there by longtime de Castro associate Fred Bobby La Gutierrez to check and see if the police officers involved in a separate incident at Prowatsky's home had their oaths of office on file at the state treasurer's office. According to Prowatsky's account, the men attempted to film in the state treasurer's office as Prowatsky tried to file and inspect public records request. They were told not to film in the office and security were alerted, followed by a police presence on the scene. Prowatsky claimed that the men were not knowingly trespassed from the building, but left after they could not obtain service to do their requests and were told that they could file the requests online. Jones and Prowatsky went over to the Roundhouse to confront state legislators about the incident. When they arrived, Prowatsky claimed that an officer from the earlier incident recognized them and informed them that they had been previously trespassed from the Capitol. The men were then taken into custody as Prowatsky claimed they were leaving. The pair were separated as they were taken to the Santa Fe County Correctional Facility. Prowatsky was briefly taken to the hospital as he did not have his prescribed pain medicine with him and needed pain medicine for the evening to be issued. Eventually, both men, while handcuffed, were allowed the use of their cell phones and they both called de Castro, who promised to raise money for their bond, despite both men explaining that New Mexico is a no-bond state. New Mexico's will release most offenders after seeing a judge as long as the offender is non-violent and not a threat to society. While noble, de Castro's fans pitching in so much money was unnecessary due to the no-bond law and due to the fact Prowatsky made it clear he had enough money in his possession to cover bond if needed. De Castro, knowing this, and being told by both men, Bobby Law and James Freeman, that no bond would be needed, did not attempt to stop his audience from sending him an influx of donations towards that goal. He would later state that all the money would be going to the men, including the memberships he received during the live stream. De Castro would return Thursday afternoon as neither man had yet been released. After telling his fans to essentially call flood both the jail and the courthouse, de Castro became frustrated when his calls would not go through. He eventually was notified that both men had seen a judge and had been released on their own recognizance. The YouTuber suggested to court worker that they expedite the release of the paperwork for the two men so they could get home to their families. He also informed the same worker that it's not their fault that they would be sued for a large settlement with thousands of people joining in on the lawsuit. This may have had something to do with de Castro's surprise Wednesday night announcement of his new yet-to-be-named organization that promises to help with bail to the entire nation. Using technology, this organization would know when everyone in the United States would be arrested and promised to be able to help with releases of even non-First Amendment auditors. De Castro was light on further details but promised that there was funding in place for this organization and a board of directors in place and would be launching within the next 4 weeks. As for Jones and Prowatsky, de Castro had promised a second Thursday live stream announcing their release. Instead, he released a YouTube short video stating that our boys were released to go along with an earlier promise reducing the amount of money the men would receive to half of what he took in due to the YouTube tax. De Castro's Constitution HQ board game was reportedly going to the printer on Friday, with de Castro promising to show off how the game works this weekend.